Welcome back to All Things Nerdy with Nate and Joe. I'm Nate. That's Joe. And today we are doing our monthly anime panel, which I think is actually our second month in a row. So we're crushing it, Right? Yeah. I think so. Right. Yeah. Today we have some awesome topics to talk about. We are going to be talking about what we're watching, what we're excited about, and then anime tropes. Should we keep them? Should we not keep them? What do we think about them? Discuss them. We're going to talk about them and all that stuff. Keaton's had a couple drinks, so it's going to be fun. Eli's always insightful and adds to the mix. Joe's full of nonsense and thinks Hunter x Hunter is better than it is. I can't wait to dive into it. Joe?
Okay, one, I do not think Hunter x Hunter is better than it is. We disagree on a lot of things. That's not one of them, okay? But without further ado, let's talk nerdy.
All right, guys. Well, let's kick it off. We'll go to Keaton first. Keaton, what are you watching right now, and what are you excited about?
What did I just finish? I think I'm going to watch some live action shows. I'm currently watching, per Eli's request, Welcome to the NHK.
What? I didn't recommend that.
Yeah, you did. You serious? Yes, you did. I have it in my notes.
I've never watched that show.
Welcome to the NHK?
Don't know. I mean, I know the show.
I don't know if you're joking or not.
But I never watched it. I'm not joking. I've never watched it.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well,
how do you feel about it? Is it good? Do you love it? Should Eli watch it?
Dude, I could have sworn you said to watch that. Or someone told me to watch it. I don't know. Anyway, okay. It is... So at first, it was kind of odd. So it's about a hikikomori, which is essentially some, like, a guy that is super depressed, like doesn't leave his house, hates to wake up, watches, like, it's just never had a girlfriend before, fantasizes about girls, is super into like hentai at this point. So at like the beginning, him and his buddy that he kind of knew from a long time ago are so into hentai, and that throws me off to a degree, like the whole sexual tropes. If we talk about sexual tropes later, it kind of weirds me out. But I went on Reddit and I'm like, does this get any better? And they're like, stick with it. And so I did. And that stuff is starting to filter out. And I'm actually really starting to enjoy it. It's like absolutely no action or anything about that. But it's a lot of life. It addresses a lot of life issues, depression, suicide, anxiety. I'm only 12 episodes in. It's a 24 episode anime, but it is... I'm actually really starting to enjoy it. It's weird. We always talk about music affecting the show, and we talk about it in like most anime. We talk about how like this big grand, like, and that's how it affects it. This is like a very subtle in unexpected. They play it at unexpected times, and it adds like this element to a show that I've actually really enjoyed. So let me finish it before I recommend it. If you do decide to watch it, get past the first like 4 or 5 episodes. But I've actually started enjoying it.
What's it called again?
Welcome to the NHK.
Again, not recommended by Eli.
Yeah,
I know it's super popular.
It's old. I mean, the animation is absolutely like trash. It's definitely a story-driven show. It's not action. It's different from a lot of newer age stuff, but I've actually really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah. Eli, what are you watching, buddy?
Trying to get back into watching things that are like worthwhile. So I feel like this is the 5th time I've said this, but I have re-entered the Assassination Classroom race to the finish. It seems like I'm watching this new show. Actually, it's probably like the winner of shows I hadn't heard of before, called Summertime Rendering.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's actually really good.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be really solid, but also doesn't seem. I don't know. It's going to be original, but it basically is going to be like a super condensed version of ReZero or Steins Gate. It seems like got kind of that relive the day, time travel-y shit. And we're just unraveling the mystery of the day as the show goes. But it started strong. It's 2 episodes in on that one, but there's not a ton of episodes either. And then I started watching some Magi. I know that one's pretty highly rated, and just some nonsense shows.
What did you say? Magi?
Yeah, Magi.
Oh, the okay, yeah.
Oh, and I started watching. Was it Crimson Ragna? I had that backwards. Yeah, Ragna Crimson. Ragna Crimson.
I did forget a show that I just watched before Welcome to the NHK, and I would love to recommend it to you. It's called Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War.
What is this show? I've never heard of such a thing.
On a serious note, it is like it's actually really, really, really good.
And I'm upset about this because I want to check it out, but I refuse to watch all of Bleach.
Yeah, would I need to go back and watch the original before I watch that?
Yeah,
that's a big commitment.
Yeah, and like now I know the episodes are still coming out with 1,000-Year Blood War. And like now it seems like they're talking about the next season, this season. I'm like, how many episodes of Blood War is there supposed to be? Because am I getting into another 300 like marathon?
I have no idea. But
how many episodes of Bleach are there, just in general?
I think it's shorter. It's shorter than Naruto. I mean, especially
Naruto's got like 800. So,
but it's filler. When I talk about shows, I don't include filler.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
Percept.
All right.
Yeah.
356.
But you got to get. Let's see how much filler that is.
163 episodes of filler.
Yeah.
So like 200 episodes of solid shows.
I mean, that might be doable. I don't know.
For you, Joe, that's just like 2 days, bro. What do you mean it might be doable? You watch anime at like a breakneck pace. You'd be like, nah, I'm not really watching anything. I finished One Piece last week. So Joe, you are the craziest motherfucker when it comes to anime. It's wild what you do.
I have to like it though, because there's some that like, I don't know, don't get me in. I guess I could go with what I'm watching. Like I started the Spy Family, but I stopped and just forgot about it after like the second season. Like it started off like cute, you know, it was like, all right, this is a neat little show, but then it got super repetitive and I was like, there's no story. They're literally doing the same thing basically every time. It's like, why don't they just tell each other who they are at this point? Like this is ridiculous.
Agreed.
And then I watched ReZero. First season was good. Second season was mid, and they tried to introduce a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense. And then the third season kicked back up, and it made it to where I was like, all right, now I'm actually like looking forward to the fourth season, which comes out in this month, I think, is when the next season drops. So looking forward to that. Been watching Solo Leveling as it comes out. And then also I've been watching the Netflix one. Is it like Sakamoto Days? Something like that. And that one, like, it's not like a big story grabber or anything like that, but it's just like you throw it on while you're doing other stuff, like just, you know, just a light kind of show to watch. It hasn't like captured me or anything, but it's watchable.
Yeah. For me, so the last anime I tried to binge watch kind of just broke me a little bit. So like the last thing I tried to binge watch was Boruto, if that tells y'all how long it's been. And like I just got so tired of it, I just couldn't do it. And it literally took my excitement of like binge watching anime away. I got through Arcane, loved it. You know, right now I'm watching Sakamoto Days, which is fun. It's kind of like, so far it's like a monster of the week, kind of like every episode. And we can get into it. Have you watched it all, Eli, before I spoilers? You're muted.
I watched 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Well, you haven't. Other episodes are going to be basically the same thing.
Yeah, if you've seen the first episode, you've seen all the episodes.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't understand. They're like, oh, here's this assassin trying to kill us, but I won't kill you, and I know you'll stop trying to kill us. It's not how it fucking works, bro. That's not how assassins work. I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how much you love. I also don't love shows where they're like, this dude is amazing. Like he was a cold-blooded killer. And like they swear off killing. Like the same with like Vin, like I don't want to like spoilers for Vin.
Wait, tell me. Who's your favorite superhero?
Batman.
Okay.
Yeah, which I also don't. My biggest issue with heroes in general, I prefer anti-heroes to regular heroes because I feel like there is a point where you need to do what's done. Imagine how many lives in this fictional world, right? If Batman would have just offed the fucking Joker, how many people would still be alive in that world? I don't understand how heroes justify not killing when it costs more lives than what it would be to just kill one person.
Because they don't want to become the villain themselves, Nate.
Fuck that. Save people by killing people.
That statement reminds me of another show that I just started watching that came out today, Invincible.
Oh, Invincible,
yeah.
Good.
It's
Good.
The new season does not disappoint, by the way. Like,
yeah.
I got back from the gym this morning, threw it on, and I was like, this was worth the wait. Like, you guys got to watch it.
Are you caught up with Invincible?
Yeah.
Hot take, I'm losing some interest.
Wait, where are we at? So I'm on season 2. Is season 3 out?
It launched today. They dropped 3 episodes.
Wait. Oh, okay. I didn't know.
So some of season 2, I just didn't care about. I was like, what are we doing? Where are we at? Season 1 was fantastic. Like, I love season 1. Season 2, kind of off the rails a little bit. I just felt like they could have just like not done a lot of it. I know they're kind of like developing the father-son and like all that stuff. I get it, but like I just don't think we needed all of it. But yeah, I do think like I'm much more of an anti-hero person. To go back to the original content, I'm much more of an anti-hero person than like a pure superhero, because I do think sometimes like you need to just get things done. So like Sakamoto Days, the fact that they're like, this assassin is trying to kill us, we will just tie him up and leave him there. As soon as he wakes up, that motherfucker, he should be coming back tomorrow to kill you. You know,
it's not worth it. Bye. Look, no,
yeah.
that's not what they would do.
Yeah, that's not how it works, because that's them turning their back on the association, which would then technically get them to be a target, right? Like it makes no sense. So for me, Sakamoto Days is fun. It's like cool. It's a Monster of the Week show, but I don't think it's that good. Solo Leveling, I really enjoy. The animations are great. I'm really, really concerned for the power scaling. I don't understand how we're going to challenge this dude. Supposedly, we're getting into some stuff where we're going to see him get pressed, which I'm excited to see. But as stout as he is and everything he's capable of doing, I don't understand what's going to press him. And like, how capable do all these people and stuff, like, at what point is it just fucking ridiculous? Are we already at Naruto, like the last great fucking in-war on season 2 of Solo Leveling? Like, this is crazy already what he can do. Like, how off the wall are we gonna have to get to just have a decent fight?
No, I'm with you, because I mean, he's already talking about S tier, and then their newest villain is like, he's not even human. And so now you're already introducing the not human effects in this world and halfway through season 2. So I'm with you. I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed every single episode so far, so I don't want to take away from that. But
100%.
I do share the same concern as like, oh shit, this is about to become like a freaking Aliens versus Predators freaking
like god level stuff. It's gonna be like, I'm a god.
Well, just think about like the metric that we have set forth so far. Like, he goes to that like hell realm or whatever. The first time he goes, somehow he beats like the Cerberus character, but he gets his arms ripped off and he almost dies or whatever. He walks back in, clears, what was it, 50, 74 or something, I just ran out of food is all. You're like, wait, so basically we've just skipped all of that in between there, and he's just rocketing up. Like, we can't measure it. It's already immeasurable. And yet every fight he's in, he's either one-handing the bad guy, or he's like, oh man, if he would have went all out, or I didn't have my tank, I probably would have died. I'm like, really would you have? Because I didn't feel that. Like,
yeah.
And I saw something about the Shadow King or whatever was like looking for a master, just wanted somebody that he thought was worthy or some shit. Like, so I was going down a rabbit hole, because like he says in the anime, right? Like, oh, if he would have fought like this, I would have stood no chance. And you see him tearing up the bears and stuff like that, just going absolute ham. And you absolutely know that, like, if the Shadow King dude like tried, he would have killed Sung Jun Woo or whatever his name is, right? And like, he would have murdered him. But I'm like, why would you not try? Why would you want to be controlled by someone else? So I went down a rabbit hole trying to find the answers, and everyone is defending the writing in the manga, saying like, oh, he wanted someone to do this. He was looking for someone that could like just stand up to him at this percent. And I'm like, that's just so bad. Like, I don't understand. Like, nothing wants that.
So here's how you solve that. Give him one episode like you did Dandadan of a deep backstory that explains it, and then I'm not gonna say you're good, but it definitely is more justifiable.
Yeah, but they don't slow down for anything. We like pacing is an issue for One Piece. Pacing is an issue for Solo Leveling, but it's on the opposite spectrum. And a lot of it has to do with the fan base of anime these days. And I know I'm like new, so like for me to call out the fan base anime is like ridiculous. But from what I see online and all the posts and threads that I read, like people are so tired of the slow paced 8 episodes of like 3 seconds of the fight and shit like that, right? So like Solo Leveling is doing the exact opposite. Like, okay, you want action, you want advancement, here you go. Bro, I want a little bit of backstory. I want a little bit of something.
Well, that and like my main concerns right now, aside from the power scaling, is they are ripping a lot of doors open-ended stuff right now in the show and creating a ton of questions. And I'm concerned that we're not going to get satisfactory answers to all of them.
Yeah, 100% agree. I don't think we can get all the answers to them. Because like the story has to end somehow, but like the a lot of the things that they're leading to ends the story because like his goal is his mom, right? Yeah. That's all he wants.
2/3 of the way there.
Yeah, he's 2/3 of the way there, right? He's one thing, and he knows the goal that he has to do to get that, and that's all he cares about is his mom. It is openly stated that is his goal. He wants to get stronger to save his mom. And now his dad shows up out of the fucking blue, right? And it's like
apparently is like the OG OPest character can just murder an S class.
Yeah, like they're
also on top of that. When's the last time you saw his mom? When's the last time you cared about his mom or his mission?
That was my argument from the very
beginning. Season 1, like episode 2. I don't know.
You don't ever because you just see her in the hospital. You never get a backstory. You never see a flashback to her caring for them as kids. Nothing.
That would compromise the hands part of the show.
The what?
The hands.
It's
the fighting.
Yeah. So back to what we're talking. You get the dad, right? And the dad is fucking over S. He's like SSSS++ tier, right? Like he fucking breaks an S tier without trying. Which this S tier dude is supposed to be like he was so fucking bad he had to leave Japan or wherever this is based out of, right? And stuff like that. And this dude, like, without even breaking a sweat, it's like, haha, sucker.
Do you think like his dad's a player?
I don't know. So I don't know.
It's very gray right now. Players, non-players, monsters, non-humans, like so many questions. And for the dad to just show up and they haven't explained what the sickness even is that his mom really has, which I think will be key later on. Yeah. But there's so many damn questions.
There's so many. So we have the dad, we have the mom, we have the world-ending catastrophe, right? We have all these things. We have the guilds trying to come at, a couple of people of the guilds trying to. There's so much. Like there's no way they're gonna tie it all together. They're gonna have to like side quest it, right? They're gonna have to just extend for extending's sake, and sooner or later you're gonna just stop caring about certain things. Like the mom. Nobody already doesn't give a shit about the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or nobody cares about the sister. Nobody cares about the mom. Nobody cares about saving. Like everybody's there for the fights. The leveling has even come and gone. Like it was so cool when he first started leveling up and you saw him putting in health. Because all of us could relate to that, right? Like, oh, we've all played Skyrim. And now he's like, I'm level 60. Look at how badass I am. Bro, you're only level 60? What is it going to look like when you're level 100?
What's the level cap?
Yeah, is there a level cap? But then also, it's weird that the monsters register that he's not normal because, like, if he's a game, but the monsters like aren't part of that game, why do they recognize that he is because like I went down a rabbit hole. So like the last elf boss that he fought, like it like blurred, like bleeped him out. So like it couldn't give him information for Sung Jun Woo to understand. But like, so are I guess all the monsters just part of the game?
Well, to add to that too, like his new, girl crush thing was like, didn't he just have a weapon in his hand? And so it's like, what, like, when are we going to get an explanation of that part of it too? Like
how he can just generate weapons out of thin air.
Yeah, and I get that he's part of a video game, but like, so just all of a sudden he's just part of the video game, or are we going to get an explanation about how and or why he specifically is part of this virtual, in between world that he can do both?
Well, the double dungeon is why he is part of it, right? So, but like, we don't understand how it interacts with this world. And now it's looking like the game is a big part of this world, is what they're kind of making it look like, right? Because if the monsters can be like censored so they don't give you information, that means the game has to have some part of that, right? Yeah. And if you can pull items in and out of your actual world, now if he's able to go to the hell world and like pull items in and out, then that's fine. That's the game created. Now, if he goes into the dungeons and pull items, maybe that's more believable. But when he's in his world and he's able to do these things, it's a little harder to understand because like you don't know if that should be a real thing. Well, so like they're unraveling so much shit, and you're just like, how are you gonna explain all this?
They don't. Easiest way is just to let it happen.
Hey, before we move on,
someone we got a comment from Epperly says Megami taught him how to pull weapons from the shadows.
What up, Big App? How you doing, buddy? Have you watched Solo Leveling? It'll probably take him a minute to respond. Also, if you have, let us know what you think about it. That's what we're talking about right now. Sorry if we spoiled anything.
Yep.
But what were you going to say, Keaton?
Yeah. Man, I forgot to mention one thing that I watched before. No, okay. One thing that I forgot to mention that I watched in between episodes was Secret Level, which is anthology about different video games. Have y'all heard of it or seen trailers about it?
What was that again?
It's called Secret Level or Secret Levels. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I remember the trailers being insane.
Yeah. So I mean, so each episode is about a different video game, and I mean, somewhat like there's one that's like 6 or 7 to 8 minutes long. There's some that's like 20 minutes long. It's only 2 seasons, like super short. I mean, you can watch it in a day, no problem. There are some that are really, really fantastic. Like one's about Warhammer 40K. And like that episode's incredible. And then there's some about, Pac-Man and somewhat lesser known video games. But as all of us, I'm probably the least out of all y'all as video game connoisseurs. I think it's without question worth watching. I also love anthology shows.
Yeah, the trailers made it seem like Love, Death, Robots, but
it is. It's the same creator as Love, Death, Robots, but
okay.
But I don't know. So I didn't watch Love, Death, Robots until after I watched this too, and I liked Secret Level more than I liked Love, Death, Robots.
But it's like different production studios for every standalone episode, stuff like that.
Yeah, different writers. Totally different. I mean, some repeat, but mostly. Well, I think for Secret Level, it is a different writer and different credit for each one, and different animation.
Yeah. One other thing that I watched too, I forgot to mention, but it kind of came into the anti-hero argument earlier. I think we've talked about it here before, but Castlevania on Netflix, that whole series, I just wrapped up the latest season. That series is pretty damn good. Like it
is
just
it really.
So y'all all know what I do for work. The listeners do not know what I necessarily do for work, and it's kind of hard to explain. But I had a meeting with one of my clients, and he was telling me Castlevania on Netflix was absolutely. He's a big anime person. He said it was absolutely amazing.
Okay, my list to watch is just getting so long at this point, just from the episode so far.
Castlevania is that easy one you can put on while you're eating or something, but the animation is absolute top tier. The characters are just really human. The thing that I appreciated about it since season 1 was that like every time you wanted a person to just propane accessories, every time you want a person to just like tell somebody off or do the lewd thing or the rude thing, they just do. They just don't care. They don't fall into any like stereotypes. They're hilarious and just relatable people in the show.
Yeah, it is on my list. I want to check it out. So,
I would say this latest season 2 was like 80% of Demon Slayer animation quality. Like,
damn, that's high praise animation.
Thanks watching it tonight.
Yep, 100%. It's good. I'm gonna like. I've been wanting a show to watch by myself. So Steph and we went to Modern Family. I wanted something uplifting and positive to watch, and I haven't been watching a lot of anime outside of Solo Leveling and Sakamoto Days. So like, I needed something to watch. But if you're gonna say that kind of praise plus what the other person was telling me, I feel like I gotta check it out.
It's a really fun show, but it is very high quality. Yeah, the animation gets better each season. I think this was season 4, maybe.
He said a lot of what they do with the camera and the movement and stuff is like much different than what you get with other animes. He said, what was it he was telling me? He said some of the movement and everything can be a little off-putting if you don't enjoy it, if you don't like it. He was trying to explain it to me. I was like, dude, I'll check it out. I was like, I'm not that nitpicky. Shut up, Joe. I'm not. I like most things that I watch. I just, I have an opinion about all things that I watch, which is fine. Also, Big Ep, if you're still here, JJK is great. Have you watched season 2 and what did you think about it? So the big purpose of this episode was for us to knock out some of the anime tropes. So we don't have to work through all of them because there's a lot. But I want to knock out some of them and just kind of get y'all's thoughts.
All right. And to preface this, like, we don't really know what tropes Nate's going to throw out. So it is going to be like an unprepared, like off the top of the head answer pretty much.
Yes. So this is a list that I received from Eli, actually, that Eli sent me. But I don't know if Eli read through all of it or not. So the big one for me is spending the day goofing off in pseudo filler episodes because I'm gonna go first on this one. Just skip an episode. It pisses me off beyond belief. It doesn't move the story forward. I have to go to a third-party website to see if I should watch the episode or not, right? Like watching Naruto, it pissed me off that I had to have Naruto up and then another thing up to see if I should watch that episode. No, just skip an episode. And also, like, talking about Bleach, 166 filler or whatever. Why are we save money and put it towards an actual good episode? Why are we producing nonsense? Anybody else can jump in.
I will say, when I was watching Naruto for the first time through, I texted Keeton, WTF, because I was on an episode where there was an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I watching? Like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. And he's like, oh, bro, you got to skip all the filler. And I'm like, oh. He sent me the website, pulled it up. I had to skip 30 episodes. And I'm like, what? Like, I literally just watched 15 episodes of filler and was wondering, like, what is going on? And then my breaking point was the Elvis impersonator in Naruto. I was like, what is the purpose of this? Like, I don't understand what I'm watching right now. Yeah, I would have to agree with Nate. Like, that definitely needs to go. Or at least, like, I don't know, maybe every once in a while filler's fine. But
yeah, I think there's
like with Bleach, 160 episodes of filler. That's
50%
filler.
Big ass comment here is totally valid for Bleach, where there were like entire arcs you could just omit from watching. And that's one thing, like, and that's uncommon and kind of sad. Like, yeah, why did you go through the trouble of making that whole non-canon season? But I think there's two styles too, where like you can have filler episodes like, Goku screaming for 45 minutes and you see 30 seconds of action, that sort of filler. And that's a lot of Bleach too. Or you have like, the Elvis impersonator, or they'll just like everyone got the iconic let's all go to the beach episode from like every show ever made. And it's like obligatory at this point. You get one episode. I think sometimes they can be fun, especially if you're watching a really serious show that's kind of depressing. Could be nice to like get a little refresher.
I think it can show you the lighter side. I think it can show you a lighter side of a character, but they should be used very sparingly because it can allow you to see the full scope of a character, but that's not what they're used for.
Right.
Usually. So
didn't Jujutsu Kaisen have a beach episode even like
in season 2? Yes.
Yeah. It's just total departure. But I mean, is anyone hating on that episode? You know,
yeah, no one cared for it. It was all nonsense.
But again, that's one episode out of like 2 seasons. Like I feel like in moderation, sure, but there's literally way too much in most anime. Like, wait, was it Solo Leveling that had like a filler in the first season? Like just something off the wall? Like, why am I watching this?
I remember.
What did we watch that had a recap in like episode 5?
Yeah, that was what it was. That was Solo Leveling. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what is this episode? What's the purpose of this?
Yeah, season 1.
Season 1, episode 5 was a recap.
Just skip a week.
Yeah, that was worth writing over. Like, come on, guys. Like, you could have just let us not have an episode this week instead of doing this.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that there are a lot of studios that are starting to do that. Like, just put in an announcement, hey, I'm skipping a week instead of putting out something dumb. I mean, it depends. If you're watching it on a week-to-week basis, filler is annoying. But I think, like, Nate's very third world problem of looking at a list of filler versus, and then, I got to skip the next 20 episodes. Like, that's okay. That's not, I mean, it's annoying as we're coming out, but in retrospect, it's whatever. I think the problem is like they put $0 towards any of those filler episodes, and it's annoying. Like, for example, My Hero, the daycare shit was so awful. It was the worst thing ever. And it almost like completely just took me out of watching My Hero.
I wish it would have me.
Yes, we want to go down that wormhole. I do think it's annoying. I don't understand it, but I feel like what was it? It was some anime recently. No, it was Dexter. Me and my wife are watching the new Dexter, and they just completely skipped like weeks. But there are some anime that are starting to do that and just skip weeks instead of doing filler.
Oh, we're about to change somebody's life. Wes says they have lists of filler episodes that you can just skip. Yeah.
God.
They have a website dedicated that tells you exactly.
Dude, Nate, you haven't told West about that?
He hasn't watched anything with fillers. Attack on Titan, watch every episode. He hasn't watched like Naruto. He hasn't watched any of that stuff. He hasn't really watched anything with like a ton of fillers worth mentioning. So calm down, guys. But yes, West, if you want to go watch Naruto, I'll send you the website to where you can skip half of it.
Yeah, there's not as many shows that are that bad about it these days because it was just the notorious like endless shonen series that were always guilty of it. Yeah. I always thought it was funny watching Naruto specifically because there was no other show that was more like visually obvious when they had budget and not like like did they have the high school interns draw this episode versus like some crazy action episode where it's all out.
Yeah, it's bad, and I'm like, just skip it. That's all I can say. Like, it's frustrating. But now this trope does not bother me. I actually kind of have an appreciation for it. However, I do think it is one of the biggest barriers for like new people that I try to warn them about and try to explain like going into it. Any ideas? Any guesses?
Falling over backwards.
Screaming. Main character always screaming. I don't know.
Screaming, or there's like still shots of people that are like,
fan service.
Yeah.
No, fan service. Fan service is what fans. So shouting the attack's name while you're like literally you like sneak up and then like you'll just call it out as you're doing it, right?
Fair.
That one I actually appreciate. I enjoy it. It does not bother me, but if you're new getting into anime, and you're not used to it, I can see how it can be like weird and kind of off-putting. So I always try to explain it and like prepare you for it. But I know a lot of people don't really care for it, but for me, I like it.
I don't know. Like when Tundra does Himiko Makagura or whatever, that gets me hype. I want him to shout it.
There are times where it doesn't make sense. Like Deku's trying to like fucking blindside Shigaraki, and like right before he hits him, he yells and Shigaraki goes, and then he misses. Bro, if you wouldn't have yelled, you wouldn't have missed. You know, like he wouldn't.
He
have
had to though. He's got to activate it or something. I don't know. He's just got to do it. He can't skip saying it.
Yeah, so like sometimes it doesn't make sense, but most of the time I'm here for it. I enjoy it. Like you said, Joe, it gets me hyped. Like
in Demon Slayer, I love it when they like every time they say they're like attack before they do it. It's just like part of the hype and part of the movement, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. My Hero was pretty awful for that.
My Hero was really unique too because like the intro and outro and the intermission, like they show the character screen and their attacks and whatever. Every time they show a character for the 57th time, they show their bio and what their abilities are and stuff like that.
I love that about My Hero. Actually.
I mean, I thought
one good thing they did.
If you're gonna go in on it, like go in on it like that, you know, like, and you have a lot of characters to keep track of, honestly, but it added something, and I think it tied it to sort of that manga style also, but. Yeah, I like whenever they do the moves and then have like they sort of mutter the name of the attack afterwards. Has like a dramatic effect to me. I don't know. It's like take the bad guy down and then they're like 1,000 sword technique after, you know.
64 palm.
Yeah.
But I think kind of goes along with that. It reminds me of the internal monologue thing that the main character always has. I'm just like, why are you always talking to yourself like this? But
hey, stop jumping tropes. That's coming up, Joe.
I'm sorry. That's just what this reminded me of. Okay.
Man, it's so man. I have one of my. It's a guy I work with now. We live in different cities now, but we've grown close, and he's super open-minded about a bunch of stuff, but he never really watched anime. And part of it, talking to him, is in college he lived in this big house with a bunch of his roommates, and like half of them watched Naruto nonstop in the living room, and then the other would like go play FIFA or something somewhere else. And so he correlated like I never had access to my living room because they were watching this stupid Japanese bullshit. And so he was never against. So I watched Secret Levels, and I was talking to him about it, and he watched Love, Death, Robots, and he's the one that told me about it. And so I watched it because of him. I was like, dude, if you like animation, watch Arcane. He watched Arcane. He's like, holy shit, Arcane's incredible. But he's been kind of not Love, Death, Robots is the only animated really thing that he's watched. And he has this kind of like vendetta against it to a degree. He's like, holy shit, Arcane was incredible. I was like, it was. Watch Attack on Titan. He watched the first episode. He's like, dude, like he ate his mom. If you haven't watched that, like, yeah, it's crazy. And then it's like, keep watching it. And he's like, I will. And he just hasn't. He's watched like half of the next episode. I'm like, dude, just fucking watch it. We like all of the same shit. Why have you not watched it? And I was like, okay, watch the animated Spider-Man movies. And I don't know if y'all seen those.
Spider-Verse?
Yeah, Spider-Verse movies are so fucking incredible. And he literally is like, dude, there are 10 out of 10 movies. And he said, dude, there's just themes that this animated shows or movies can hit on that just hit way harder and way different. And I'm like, holy shit, it's almost like I was telling you that the whole time. And so you're going to watch Attack on Titan. But I do think, I tell that big story to say, I think that a lot of these tropes, especially the and you're announcing your move before, it's a trope. But like in animated, in this scenario, anime, like they can pull it off and it just hits way different, and it actually lands. It's like, all right, that's kind of badass. Versus if you're watching a live action show and they were like, I'm about to cut you. Boom.
Gum something. Snap.
Fucking dumb. Like, how would you ever do that?
Well, your
Yeah.
suspension of reality. I had this conversation yesterday. So your suspension of reality with anime is there because it is animated versus when you watch a live action, there is some aspect of you that is the expectation of the real world around you. No matter what you're watching, right? There's still that expectation that humans are somewhat grounded. Now, like if you see a superhero, you think that they can do incredible feats, right? But you think everyone else are still humans, like they're grounded somehow. You see an Alien versus Predators, you see the people that they're hunting are still humans, they're grounded. Like you are always stuck to like the world in which they are a part of. There are rules that they have to live by. In anime, that's not the case. Like you allow yourself to believe like there are no rules to that world except for the rules that they give you. So like your suspension of reality is always there, which means you're open to anything.
Yeah, no, it's. I do think that some of these tropes can be pulled off because of exactly what you said. It's like your brain is once an animated show turns on, your brain is wired to believe and really like be encapsulated by a lot more, no matter what the situation is. Because even like the Hulk, he has gravity and there's things that he can't do or can do. It's not immortal, but yeah.
I think maybe one aspect that's overlooked with this specifically too, with like shouting attack names, the quality of voice acting. Like if someone's really good at delivering, it hits well, right?
That Demon Slayer.
Flat,
Thunderclap and Flash.
I mean, and the thing is like the adaptation from manga to anime, like in the manga, like it makes sense because like you want to showcase the attack that they're doing. So like writing it out, like Hiro Kamakaguri, like so you know what's happening to be able to read that. You're like, oh snap, I know what's happening. So I think like it probably started as like a true adaptation of that, and then it just became a thing and kind of kept running. But like for me, like I enjoy it. I want to keep seeing it,
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I think that one's not a bad one.
Yeah, and then also shout out to Promi, my boy. I got him started watching anime. He just finished, or he's about to finish Arcane. He started Attack on Titan, but I was like, hey, why don't you pause it because it's a lot longer. Get through Arcane and then come back to Attack on Titan, and he's knocking it all out. So it's only a matter of time until he's watching Naruto. We're getting there. Also, one of my favorite attack tropes. What is it? Consecutive normal punches.
Yes, he has the best.
Yes, he does. They are awesome. They're money. All right, so Keaton walked away, but we can get into this one. And this is one that even one of my top 5 shows, it just bugs me. And I don't know why it bugs me as much as it does, but it does. And I understand why it is the way it is, but it still bugs me. Teenagers who can save or change the world. So I'll kick us off. I get that most anime are built around like teenagers, right? Or like young teens. So I get that like they tend to be the MCs. They're the ones that can change things. But
basically all of the animes.
Yeah, I get because that's who the audience is for the most part and stuff like that, right? However, like Death Note, this kid being as smart as he is, like to a fucking second, and like calculating everything. Or I love Code Geass. Love Code Geass. But like Lelouch planning everything the way, calm down, bro. That is not how life works. That is not how it is shown in anime that's not how it works. So why do you get to do that? And that bugs me. I don't love that. I don't like when they're perfect to the second, when they can plan and foresee. Now, if you have some kind of foresight ability or something, sure, whatever, right? But that's not the case. They're just pitched as that smart, and it's not real. Keaton, the trope is teenagers who can save or change the world.
Right. Before Keaton answers, Wes says Arcane is so good.
Arcane is so good. And that's tough. I mean, that's like literally every anime that's ever been invented for the most part. At least shonen.
I think it's part of why Kaiju number 8 is so good and why so many people are drawn to it, because it's a middle-aged dude. right? That is the MC. Like so many people are like, I love the fact that I'm watching an adult in an anime.
Yeah, and there's only a handful of those, and they make a big deal out of it too. Like it's just a joke. It's got to be something to do with just Japanese culture because they mock the middle-aged characters mercilessly.
Yeah.
So no,
You're fat and out of shape.
yeah, I'm like,
You haven't done anything with your life yet? You're useless.
Yeah, fuck you. Don't talk about me. I feel attacked. I'm trying to enjoy this show.
maybe when anime started coming around, it was just really geared towards like adolescence, and you know,
But we've grown up now. We need more
Yeah.
Kaiju 8.
yeah, come on.
But the problem is like, so like even like Attack on Titan, like the main characters are like kids, but like that's not geared towards kids. Like ain't no like you're not taking your small child and be like, hey, watch this. Like this is good for you. Like here, you know.
But it really is like every show. I mean, like Ichigo, Bleach, in school, like major characters, Naruto, probably even younger, like Luffy, like all of them are kids basically. It really is.
I think part of it is because as teenagers, you are still so impressionable as people that even as adults, when we look back and the characters are teenagers, they're still like, this sounds, I guess, kind of dark, but like belief in the world. And as we get older, like 30, we become jaded to the world. And we're like, oh no, the world's like this. That would never happen and whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it inspires and brings hope to like the audience of something that we can all relate to, that in a period of time, we may have been a little naive, but we were also most people optimistic to a certain point that we could change the world. But yeah, go ahead, Joe.
In that regard too, I mean, that gives the writers more leeway to like, you know, opens the possibilities of what this character could do or could think, or like, you know, instead of just being jaded and them not falling for anything, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there are some like Welcome to the NHK is a grown man. Great Pretenders about grown men. Banana Fish is about grown people. I mean, there's a lot of anime
I haven't
that's
seen
about
any of those.
yeah. It's not. It's just like shonen, right? Shonen. If we're talking about teenagers that influence and change the world, if we want to put it in a bucket, we're talking about shonen.
I guess so.
That's the majority of what we're talking about, or isekai for a lot of it. But like even Steingates, I mean, he's grown. I mean, he has teenagers with him, so they are changing the world. But
Well, you weren't here for my argument, Keaton. For me, it's not the ability to like save or change the world. My biggest issue is when they make the small child a genius to the point like they can calculate everything. Like I told them, I love Code Geass, love it, right? But like Lelouch being able to plan everything to a second and know like, okay, I'm going to do this, they're going to do this, and that's going to cause this and this and this and this and this, and like 38 moves down the road at, you know, at this hour, at this second, at this coordinate, at this.
like, how does a teenager that's never been through any real life problems understand the political warfare between Japan and China?
Yeah.
Well, the way you're saying that makes me think of Promised Neverland too.
Yeah, but so for Promised Neverland or 86, which I know some of you guys haven't watched, but like there can be an aspect where these teenagers have to grow up really fast, like in 86. So with that, it's more believable. And stuff like Death Note, where he's just a privileged high school kid that all of a sudden gets a notebook and he still just understands everything.
So Death Note to me, Justin, just so you know, Death Note is not top 5. I'm not even sure Death Note is top 10 for me. Death Note, I think, is a cool story, and I think it changed the way like a lot of anime was done, and it showed that you can create like such a cool story and do like such different things. The problem is like, in my opinion, it just kind of spun out. I don't understand why they killed L. It makes no fucking sense. Once they killed L, I think it went downhill. I lost so much interest. And again, it goes to like the kid, like, you just not that, like, you can have the power to kill people, but the power to kill the people with the notebook versus the power to anticipate the world and how they're going to react and how everyone is going to react to everything is nonsense.
Death Note is a great entry anime, though.
He says I'm trying to stay looking, just Nate. That's how it usually goes.
100%.
I think Solo. How old is Sung Jin-woo in Solo Level? He's an adult, right? He's like 20 something. So
I I know he can drive. I think he's probably
got a
18, 19, something like that. He's out of school.
Hold on,
So
let
this-
me
his
Google it.
slightly younger sister is in school still, but he's just out of it.
Yeah, I would say 18 or 19.
24 or 25.
Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Bro, he was
Yeah.
tiny. He was a
Yeah.
tiny human until he got stepped on by a fucking Joker face dude statue thing.
And they still show his picture, and he's like,
Yeah, little like
Oh,
that version of him did look like a little high school kid, but the version of him now is like, all right, bro.
I miss him getting stepped on. The show was better when he got his ass whooped, honestly.
so one episode.
Yeah, one episode. No, there was still a couple where he got.
Yeah, there was 4 or 5 where he was
Got
like
his arms chopped
burning.
off.
Yeah. I think we should have had a whole season of him just getting whooped, son.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to figure out the whole player system, like getting stronger, but then still awkward from
I think
his whole life.
Season 1 should have been level 1 to like 5. Like literally him getting a bit stronger, getting it figured out, stuff like that. Like him going from fucking, what is it, D rank, E rank, whatever he is, like that to like E and a half rank,
Like B rank.
maybe, whatever.
He was literally S rank to start this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This is like 12.
So the next one, and this one, I think it can go a lot of ways. I think it's overplayed, but the comic relief guy who might also be a pervert, gamer, or fool. And I have a character that immediately comes to mind, and they just crack me up every time.
Who is your character?
Grape Juice just makes me laugh every fucking time because he's useless. But every time he's on screen, I just laugh.
Oh, how did he get into the class though? Supposed to be the top people. This is my argument of him. I know he's the comic relief, but he should not have made the cut. Okay, all he does is have purple sticky balls on his head. Like, doesn't make any sense,
Bro, and he's just a pervert. Like, he's just a creep. It's just, but he cracks me up
He is
every
funny.
time.
Oh,
I think it is overplayed. I think, my opinion, there's ways to add comedy. You can even have specific characters like designated as the comedic relief. I don't think you always have to do that side like sexual comedy, like I'm an idiot comedy and stuff like. I think there's more natural ways to do it. Like Kaiju number 8, I think done that really well. I think there's a decent amount of comedy in there, like where you just kind of laugh. It's natural with it, and there's like no just standout stupidity in it, and stuff like that. That's my opinion.
I think they still need to make sense, like Grape Juice. Like, it just doesn't make sense. He's just literally he is the comic relief, and he can't do like. He shouldn't have made the cut. That's just
Yes, he should have. He should be the captain of that class.
No, but
Deku wishes he had that strength.
One of my favorite, I guess, comic relief, like pervert people, is this guy up here, right? Like Jiraiya, literally Sanin, OG, but he's that character that he's gonna be perverted, gonna say some off the wall stuff, and it's
there are some real moments with Jiraiya that are like out of pocket though. Like,
dude, like Carly, I was like, Carly, you have to watch Naruto, and Carly was like, Jiraiya is a fucking weirdo, man. And then I'm like, yeah, he kind of is, and I don't realize it because he's super powerful and he's a sensei and he's very sensei. But I'm like, yeah, he is kind of a creep.
It was one of the hardest parts of Naruto for me to like accept and kind of get past when they first introduced him, and you see like he sees his godson Naruto use Hiram Jutsu, and he like flip, bro. That's Naruto, and like, why are you being weird? Like, Steph used to babysit some kids, and they had to stop watching it because of Jiraiya.
Yeah, I get that. I think it depends on character design and the trope. I mean, like, let's just think like Zenitsu, like he's an incredible character, and he's
not.
He's well developed. No, I'm just kidding. But his partner in Inosuke, I mean, holy shit, he's not funny at all. I don't really know any redeeming qualities about him whatsoever. He's not funny. He's really not that strong, but
best character ever.
He muted you, Keeton.
As far as the tropes go themselves, I mean, I like everybody. There's comedic relief. There has to be comedic relief in every show, but I do think that it just depends. Like grape juice can be funny.
but he has no purpose. You just
But
if they're gonna be there.
I feel like with comedic relief, you either have to be a Jiraiya and like be super important to the development of other characters, or you have to be like Grape Juice and have absolutely no like whatever.
No redeeming qualities other than hilarity.
See, I disagree. I think you can be a normal part of the story and still be funny and show that side of you. Like I don't think you have to be one or the other. Although
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want someone who is useless but is just there to be funny. Like if they're normal, integrated, like they actually have a purpose, and that makes it better than it's just this random character that the only thing they do is come on screen, say something stupid, and then that's it.
So let's take Zenitsu and Inosuke, for example. Now, look, I'm gonna shit on both of them for a second. I'm not gonna just pick one or the other. Let's call them both comedic relief for what they are, right? One kind of just runs around yelling and is stupid, and the other one is just kind of over the top, whiny and useless up until he's not. I will give him credit that once he's asleep for whatever reason, I don't know why falling asleep, which is dumb as fuck, makes him goes off, but it does. So you have one that just runs around crazy, stupid, yelling, and people think it's funny, which I like Inosuke. I'm one of those stupid people. And then you have the other one who's just whiny, over the top, baby, useless until he's not. Like, I think you can do better than both of those.
Yeah, I was going to say, my point is like neither one of those side characters, honestly, are like very intriguing, to be honest. Like they kind of shit the bed with the side characters in Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
well, totally fallen out of the picture too. But yeah,
the Hashiras are the side characters.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed that though, with the Hashiras being the side characters, learning about all of those the past season or whatever. But
yeah, I have to. Zenitsu has his own character production that's coming up, so he's not completely falling out. I mean, he will be relevant. He would definitely be more relevant than Inosuke.
Okay, Keaton, get off Zenitsu. We know you're his fanboy.
I think we're talking about this.
Try to be as unbiased as possible.
Keaton's like, oh, he got a letter. Now he's the most OP character.
Did you see the background of the letter?
We've talked about it on previous episodes, but still, again, nothing is proven. We haven't seen it yet.
I like.
I think it's a really polarizing type, like archetype of character, though. I mean, if you can think about, I think you'd be in the minority loving Great Boys so much, but let's give him some credit anyway. But he is one of the more annoying comedic relief characters versus a Jiraiya. But it's a lot easier to swallow. Like what Keaton was saying, it was like, someone else watches Jiraiya and they're like, this guy just makes me uncomfortable. But we watched him and we respected him and we know, oh, he's sunny and oh, he's so talented. When you're really powerful in the show and meaningful to the plot or maybe main character, like it's a lot easier to be like, give him the pass, But
so I didn't know how powerful he was. I legit, like, I remember telling Keaton and Joe, I was like, dude, I can't watch this. Like, it is so off-putting. Like, I did not like Jiraiya at the beginning. Yeah, it was so over the top, weird, perverted, just like in your face, no way around it, not just a little here, a little there. It was just awful bad. And it wasn't like I didn't know how powerful or how important he was. Now, I love Jiraiya now and like everything that happened. I get it. Like going back and thinking about all it. But at the beginning, I was like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, at the beginning, he is introduced and it is strange. But I do remember like that conversation where you're like, I was like, Jiraiya's one of my favorite characters. He's like, you're weird for that. Like, I remember you being like, I'm kind of questioning you right now. Like, just watch the rest of the show. Just watch the rest of the show. You'll get it.
If I would have quit watching Naruto and I had kids, I'd be like, Joe, no, you can't hang out with my kids.
There you go, Nate.
Yeah, 100%. A show that does comedy really well but doesn't have that stupid comedic, Mob Psycho 100. Well,
I was about to say, Reagan, can we all agree Reagan is the best comedic relief character?
Yeah, 100%. Now, One Punch Man is just all comedy. They do it so well. Yeah. Like, it just fantastic, right? But yeah, Mob Psycho is one of those that he's an important part of the story. It's not over the top one way or the other. He's like useless but useful at the same time. He plays such a huge part in the development of Mob. Like but he is just funny all the time. It is money the way they did it. Also, some of the people I was talking to yesterday is like, I couldn't get over the animation of Mob Psycho. The animation of Mob Psycho was fantastic.
What?
Yeah.
We comment from Wes talking about Zenitsu. He's so whiny, but such a badass when it matters. Yeah, after he falls asleep, he's really helpful.
Yeah.
The fight scenes in Mob Psycho, the production studio kicks it up, I will say.
Yeah, we were talking about camera angles earlier. They know how to work camera angles.
Yeah. But it's very Saitama-esque when you're just staring at Mob's face. So
I love it. But I love One Punch Man. I love the art style.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. We don't care about that one.
Have they announced when the heck the new season's dropping, or are they just going to keep saying it's coming soon? Oh, let's look it up.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. So we've touched on this because of solo leveling, but now we can just bring it all together full circle. Ridiculous power scaling. And so now we've talked about it in reference to solo leveling. So to the viewers, like, solo leveling is worth watching, but if you watch it, you would understand full send what we are saying when we say we are concerned about the power scaling of what we're watching. Season 3 is going to be them destroying worlds. Season 4, universes. Season 5, nothing will exist, right? Like, it's crazy. It's broken. But the thing is, because of the way we are and the way our world, like our actual world, everything at our fingertips, our attention span, and how long you're starting to see a lot of these anime studios, not studios, but like these shows like Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff, be like, oh, we're only going to do like smaller, we're only going to do 3 seasons. We're only going to do like, instead of like Naruto, like they're not trying to do these 1,000 episodes and stuff like that. So I think we will be able to see some of that power scaling come back. Whereas like Naruto, literally because they had so many episodes, they had to scale to just keep it interest. I don't think we had to go to fucking gods, right? Which is stupid and I'll never understand. But like, you have to scale every time. You got to get a new power. Okay, this next season there's going to be a new boss. There has to be a new power. We have to kick it up. He has to get stronger. I understand that, but there needs to be some kind of level to it.
I think, and I know we were talking a little bit about this before we went live, but I think like your take on that is a little bit because you started watching anime so much later. Like, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, and like, so solo leveling, power scaling I just don't really think about it that much, because I just think back to, Dragon Ball Z with Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyans, and literally destroying worlds, and like, it's just part of anime. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem like that big of an issue, because like we talked about it earlier, they can make it work because it's an anime, and they're gonna set the world, and they're gonna make it make sense.
So, Joe,
now they do it right every time? No, like the God thing in Naruto, they went wrong. But up until that point, though, like, I don't know.
Kind of a challenging question to a degree. Is that like your association with anime is Dragon Ball, like from just like a natural psychological standpoint, which a lot of people's is?
Yeah, I guess that's the first show that I remember watching. Like,
yeah, of course, it's like 90% of people who got into anime.
Yeah,
but like, as you've explored more anime and watched more anime and understood, storylines and all that, it's like there is a part of it that, again, we all love every episode of Solo Leveling so far. We're just concerned about the future. And to add to Joe and Nate's point, I think y'all are both correct in a lot of ways. Is like, there's a level that we don't care about the power scaling because it's like anime. But to Nate's point, it does have to have some sort of cap. And I do think that the industry is going to shorten their time frame. And I do think that part of that's a byproduct of us as consumers, like wanting instant things right now, like dopamine effects, just high levels in short period of time. So I think they're going to find a happy medium, but then I think eventually there's going to be some sort of show like let's just think about the big three. Like we love the big three, and I think part of that's because they're long. I do think that there's going to come a show at some point that us as consumers are like, all right, we're kind of tired of the quick hitters. Give us some backstory because we've all said it. There's going to come a show that understands pacing so well that they can give us both of those, give us 200, 300 episodes, and we're going to love it as a result of that.
I know what show that is.
What show, Nate?
Free Run.
Oh, dude, Farron is.
If it kept going.
Farron is so good.
100%. They do it. I know it's only one season, right? But if they can replicate season 1 and just do it over and over and just go deeper and deeper every time, because like the power of the mages and what it shows is spot on for what we expect, but it can scale. It can be greater, but the backstories, the flashbacks, the animation, the backstories, how you care for the character. Free Run is that show.
Yeah.
I think it will be if they're able to replicate season 1 for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons, it will be the benchmark of anime.
I could agree with that.
It's got some special sauce.
We do have a comment. Justin says Pokemon is the gateway drug.
That's true too.
100%. You know, and it doesn't get enough credit. Like, I mean, it does and it doesn't, right? But like,
but power scaling in Pokemon. Let's talk about that. Ash Ketchum can pick up a 500-pound Pokemon with one arm. Come on, like get out of here. Like he's like putting his arm out, the bird's sitting. It's like I've seen the little videos like showing the weight of the Pokemon he's picked up, and I'm like, what?
I'm more concerned about the power scaling of the games. Back in the day, we had to earn our legendary Pokemon. Now they just like, please take these and enjoy your game. Congratulations.
You get the legendary Pokemon right at the beginning of the game on the first road.
It was so funny. I still watch Pokemon YouTube videos all the time. Like I love Pokemon, and I was thinking this week, I'm like, man, I love when Pokemon comes out because, and I'm sure Eli, do you still play the new Pokemons or no?
I play the old ones again. I rebought the yellow cartridge for Game Boy Color.
Hell yeah,
Even
that's
way
awesome.
back.
Well, like every year, me, Nate, and Joe buy the new one, and we like have fun with it for a period of time. And I love that part of my life so much. Just so you guys know, like when we're texting every night about the new Pokemon, like
Dude, our Nuzlocke was so much fun.
It was so hard. I died so many times. I was like, ugh.
But I like to hit to Ev's point, like Pokemon is the gateway drug in a lot of ways too. It's like I don't know, I love it. I still like to this day.
And it's another one of those like childhood memories for me, like just watching Pokemon, getting some of the packs, cards, that kind of stuff. Like,
dude, it just touches a part of you that is untouchable in so many different ways.
It is a memory that if I ever lose, like I will be so pissed at myself for losing that memory. But like I distinctly remember getting off the bus, and I had a long driveway growing up, and I would sprint to my house, right? And it was a lineup. Boy, it was amazing. Pokemon into Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So like I had a long trip home, but like I would always miss like the first 5 minutes of Pokemon. It pissed me off, but I would sprint from the bus to my house to catch Pokemon. And then I would watch Yu-Gi-Oh, but my mom was always like, you got these chores you got to do. They better be done. And I was like, no, I got to finish it all. So by the time Yu-Gi-Oh was done, and by the time my mom walked in the door, I had like a smooth like 11 minutes, right?
believe in the heart of the cards.
And I know you're like every other kid right here, just watching it like this.
100%. So it was great, man. Golly. I have tried to go back and watch like the starter part, like Indigo.
Yeah, me too.
It's
hard.
tough. Yeah.
It's
It's hard.
I did recently watch like the where he became the champion. Like we beat the Charizard versus Pikachu battle. That was pretty lit. But when I threw up Pokemon like on Netflix or whatever, some of the older ones, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Did you watch the actual show, or did you watch the episode of the fight?
I will put the episode of the fight.
Okay, I was going to ask if you saw the season, because if you watched the season and it was good, I would literally watch that latest season. But
I just skipped to like that battle because I saw like a video on it and I was like, I want to go watch that.
Dude,
So I like skipped to
I
those
think-
2 episodes and watched those through.
I think we shared it. That video was super hype. It's like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
What about skipping back a trope? What about Brock? Brock was
Brock,
a
yeah.
little uncomfortable in your children's cartoon.
Yeah, a little pervert there.
It was. That's
All right.
so perfect.
All right, should we do one more? I mean, on that, were we going to keep this to an hour? No, we're over that. I wasn't.
Let's,
really
let's do an hour and a half. Everybody go for an hour and a half. They'll give us like 2 more tropes. All right, hour and a half. Now this one is going to be short. I don't think, for me personally, I don't see any issues with this. Expedited training sequences to maintain pacing. Caveat to that from my perspective, and I feel like I'm kicking all these off. So you know what? I'll let y'all kick it off, and then if no one touches on what I was going to say, I'll throw it in there if I don't forget, which I might forget. But y'all go ahead, kick it off.
Give us the example that's in the post so we have a better idea here.
Well, what it tells me is any anime with fight sequences or tournaments would inevitably feature a good old training sequence or 2. There's usually a sensei involved that will go on a spiel about how difficult their coaching will be or how no one is able to complete it within X amount of time. Think about like Boruto learning how to do the Rasengan in 2 days. Now, Naruto was able to do it because of his clone ninjutsu, right? Because he's able to retain all that knowledge, and it still took him 2 weeks to do, you know.
But Naruto didn't have very good control of his chakra as well, so that's, I guess, a different person.
I guess I'll start. I think there's like certain scenarios where it's okay, but from a generalized standpoint, I don't like it because I think it's just like, and I'm sure I'm hypocritical in some parts of this and in some shows of this. Just because I like put it off, but it's like it is plot armor to a degree. It's just like, you know, we go back to the Dragon Ball example, and it's just like, okay, well, they can go into a hyperbolic time chamber and train for 2 hours, and it's 25 years or whatever the correlation is, and then they come out and they're able to whoop the enemy's ass that beat the shit out of them yesterday. So I do think that there's a balance to it. I don't know. I talked about this isn't anime, but Star Wars. How like Rey in her first episode was able to beat Kylo Ren, the new Sith Lord, after she just picked up a lightsaber. That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. If you think I'm passionate about anime, I'm the same about Star Wars. I would love to be on a Star Wars episode. All that. But to correlate it to like anime, like if it's that drastic of a like you learning powers that quickly, I lose it. I lose interest really fast. But I don't know, man. There's a balance, but there's sometimes it's okay, but most of the time I don't like it.
You must have really hated this last season.
Why can I learn how you did that or why you did that?
You must have really hated this last season of Demon Slayer because basically all it was basically what Nate just read. Impossible training that no one will pass. That was basically the entire last season of Demon Slayer.
Yeah, but it's kind of the opposite of the montage, though, because like we watched an entire season on the backstory of getting better at stuff, even though they didn't really seem to get better at anything. And versus like the walk into the chamber, walk out next episode sort of a thing. In my mind, I had to be kind of introspective when I think about this because I'm pitting that entire season of Demon Slayer and that style, like, oh, we're going to show you the whole training arc versus I remember towards the end of Bleach before 1,000 Year Blood War, back in the day, and Unbeatable Enemy, Ichigo, the main character, essentially goes into a time warp, comes out a completely new person, completely unknown abilities, different outfit, the whole shebang. Now, whenever the characters emerge like that, I can't help but get excited still. I enjoy watching the fights and what happens. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just the frustration of these linear sort of power scaling. You have to go in one direction. The enemies keep getting stronger as the series goes. The main character has to keep getting stronger. There's never like a mismatch of levels. And so, yeah, it gets a little aggressive or a little plot holy whenever you need someone to suddenly match up. It happens all the time, but I really can't think of a time where I didn't still enjoy watching the fight. So I don't know.
I feel like Naruto did the training part really well, though, or at least for Naruto. Like, I just think back to him, like, using his clones to train under, like, the waterfall and the log, like, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, like, he turned into, like, the frog thing. I can't remember what it's called.
No. Yeah, to your point, like, in Naruto, I think this was, like, there were believable circumstances as to why the power scaling could happen so quickly versus in other shows where it's just kind of like any four of us could write this in 15 minutes of, oh, well, there's something you can walk into and walk out of that
hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah. But to Eli's point, like every time it happens, you're like, holy shit, I'm fucking badass. Yeah. But then the point is like, okay, well, that fight, it's great. But then the next fight, where are we going?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm the odd man out because I'm not like, oh shit. I'm like, of course. For an example, fucking the Uchihas and the fucking right? Like I got so burnt out. They're like, oh, I need to be able to do this one thing, and like the changes, and it's like, oh, I can now do this one exact thing that I was hoping and needed to be able to do. Look at me, my Sharingan can now do this one fucking thing because my 8th uncle removed from my 3rd cousin was once able to do it. And I kicked a rock when I was young that skipped 7 times. And now I can do these things.
Tell us how you really
God, I remembered it.
Right, Anime Day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so look, here's the thing. Sometimes for pacing, it's appropriate. I don't want to watch a season of you to be able to do like one thing. Now, like the big power scaling things, Naruto learning Sage Mode. Sage Mode was beautiful. Training, everything that went into it. You wanted to see it. You wanted to see him learn it. You were invested in it. And in my opinion, they didn't give it enough love. We needed a whole season of Sage Mode being peak power. They showed it to you and then took it away because they're fuckers. It's fine. I'm not sad. I'm not upset about it at all. But also, like, we can't complain about pacing and then also in the same breath be like, oh my God, we want to see you train longer because the training would be so repetitive. But I think it goes back into the power scaling, right? Like they need to get in line their power scaling and they can do that with the writing and they can take smaller steps. Maybe don't make your fucking villains go from, hey, I'm super strong to, hey, I can blow up your planet with my eyeball. Like there's an in between there. There's a little bit that you can do in between that we could introduce to like scale small, baby steps to get there, right? And then also you can do expedited training over long periods of time. Like you can show small bits of effort, like, oh, he put in this effort, go to the next episode and show brief moments of him training or even flashback to moments of him training and stuff and make it feel like it's longer than it actually was to give you the belief that they put in the effort. However, I do not fucking love, and this is because of Naruto that I do not love this, and it is because of the fucking Uchihas and all that. The whole, I need this thing, and miraculously I can do this thing. And then also Hunter x Hunter they did this atrociously, and it is the most. They made a family member to do this. They're like, we need one person that can heal Gon, and there's nobody in the world that can do it. And then Killua is magically like, I have a sister that can make a wish and do this. The fuck? No one even talked about that. We've met your whole fucking family for seasons, bro. And you magically have a sister that can do the one thing you need that no one has talked about, no one has met, no one has seen.
I didn't tell you my sister's a genie. I didn't tell you.
That just screams out like I wrote this and then I didn't realize how popular this was going to be. and then now I gotta like save my main character really quick.
Yep.
But like Naruto and Hunter x Hunter, those two are the most egregious to me that have done the I need this one thing. Oh my fuck, I accidentally have this one thing.
Yeah, you never watched Dragon Ball Z, had
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like he really has to watch Dragon Ball Z.
I have no desire to watch
Dude,
it.
honestly, don't. I tried.
I have no desire to watch.
So you did say one interesting thing to me is you said we like out of your opinion, you said we complain about pacing. What show have we complained about pacing for that has been too slow?
Well, not us, not just us four, right? But like I feel like people talk about like One Piece is bad, right? But you see a lot of people talk about One Piece with pacing. I've seen people talk about Naruto with pacing. Now, a lot of your newer stuff, like your JJKs, even this past season with Demon Slayer, people are fucking dragging. A lot of people are dragging up until the last episode because of the pacing, because there was nothing to grab onto. They're like, this is boring. This is nothing. This is literally the same thing over and over. Like, it's different training, but it's still training. There's no fights. There's no edge of your seat. There's nothing to grab you, right? So even like Demon Slayer, the pacing, they're like, it's slow. Like, we need something, Vinland Saga season 2 pacing, right? Now, I thought Vinland Saga season 2, if I knew what to expect, once I kind of gave in, I was like, okay, this is what it is. I loved it. But for a long time, I was like, for the love of God, what am I watching?
Honestly, man, I think that may be what after I finish Welcome to NHK, I may go rewatch Vinland Saga. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. We were talking about Star Wars and different things. It's like, I tried to, because the new trilogy of Star Wars let me down. Or the first movie did, and blah, blah, blah. I had high expectations. So I think going into things with just completely open mind, I think that maybe what I do next is go rewatch season 1 and 2 of Vinland Saga and have a completely open mind about season 2 and see how I feel about it after that.
I think I need to go rewatch season 2 as well, because the whole season 2, I kept waiting for that moment to take me back to season 1, that I was pissed the whole time that they didn't give it to me. I never gave it a fair shake, ever. Right?
Yeah, and just because of everything y'all said, I never even watched season 2. I was like, I'm not watching that.
Until like episode 18, and finally I just gave up. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to appreciate it for what it is. Right? That at that point was like the only time that I started to appreciate it. Right. Yeah. But I shorted myself like 18 episodes or whatever it is. And so, yeah, like I agree with you. I should also go back and watch season 2. So,
all right. What do we got time for? One more?
We got time for one more. Let me find a good one. You know what? We kind of touched on it and talked about it, but I want to hear y'all's take on this specific thing. So we might have time to, because I don't think this will take long. I touched on it, so I don't think it'll take long. So we might have to. Characters unlock secret / forgotten power just before defeat. Or they just so happen to fucking need it in that moment. It doesn't have to be defeat. It can be like, I just got to have this randomly, and then they get it. I want to hear you.
My hero does that a lot too. Like where they're on the brink of death, and then I just unlocked this new ability that I can use, and now I'm going to win, that kind of thing.
Yeah, then they remembered no one can die. So
Yep. I don't know. I'm torn on it because, like, I don't know, it gets you hyped. Like they're in the middle of this battle to the death, and they come out on top. Like you want to see the good guy win. But I know, Nate, you don't necessarily like to see that because your favorite show is Attack on Titan. You want to see everyone die. But I think like it's part of that, like the good guy. You want the good guy to win, so they have to have like an ace in the hole, or something has to happen to that breakthrough where you're like, you think they're about to lose, and then to push the story forward or to keep the main character alive, they pull something out of their bag or whatever. So I appreciate it. Is it over the top at times, especially with like a show like My Hero? Yes. But I do appreciate it on certain shows.
I think it's easy to overplay. If you're just doing it over and over. Like, I'm totally okay with it if they have mentioned something about, the character pursuing that ability or skill, or someone has alluded to it or whatever.
Like that is what makes it okay. Have they tried? Have they practiced? Like it can even be like, I've practiced this for the last 10 years, never been able to do it. This is my last breath. This is the one thing that will save me. and then they put it together. I'm good with that.
And coming
You
through
practiced
clutch.
it.
Yeah.
You practiced it for 10 years. With your life on the line, you put everything you had into it and it came through. Fucking beautiful. Let's go, baby.
If the fight is happening and we're mentally, emotionally in the middle of the fight, and you throw something totally out of left field and now have to stop to explain what the hell just happened because we've never seen or heard of it before, that is a problem. That's not okay.
So going aging 20 years in one fight.
Yes. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
He made a deal, and now he's a man.
In the moment, well, in the moment, what is that cool?
Yeah, so in the moment, I remember it being like, all right, but I was like, what the heck? Like, that's the route they took?
In the moment, I thought it was a shitty fight. I didn't understand any of it. You build all
basically
that
it wasn't
up,
a fight. He just did that and then beat her into a bloody
fight.
It was used. I don't know.
Not even against the boss or anything, but it did make for the best cosplay anyone's ever put together. So,
what were you gonna say, Keaton? Go ahead, buddy.
No, that's what I was gonna say. Is I can't. I mean, I'm trying to think of specific scenarios where that happens, and I think the one that stands out the most is the situation. So that's why I brought it up. Is like, there's just some moments that it's so fucking ridiculous that it may seem cool, but you're also like, I mean, what? Like, that's just so fucking dumb. It's not even like, yeah, he's about to beat the fuck out of this girl, but I don't know, man. I don't really like that because I think it's the same plot armor of the hyperbolic chamber and the time travel thing. It's just like there's always a hole that it's just lazy writing at the end of the day. I think that's how we put it. It's just lazy writing. And I think that's why, me and Nathaniel may enjoy Attack on Titan more than others is I think that every single thing that they did was somewhat calculated. Even the time travel was calculated. And so that's why it's a little bit more appreciated. And to Eli's point, Steins Gate, I need to rewatch Steins Gate too, actually, because I don't think that I was mature enough in my time travel openness to appreciate Steins Gate at the time because I always hated on time travel. And now that I'm more open to it, I do think I need to watch Steins Gate. But yeah, I think it's just lazy writing.
I agree. I think a lot of it comes down to just lazy writing. There's so many ways you can get a character out of a bad situation without being like, oh, here's a miracle. There's so many ways. And also, if you're going to take the time to write a miracle, come up with an ability and all that, like you said, have them practice it. Have them mention it. Have them, in my lineage of family, my dad's special move was this. And I know it runs. It's I don't know. It's generational. His grandpa did it, right? Just something that sets them up to be able to do it. And then I'm fine with it for the most part. Still don't overuse it, but I'm okay with it from there.
Unless it's a Sharingan, then he doesn't want it.
Well, the Sharingan was abused. Okay. The Sharingan is never okay. The Sharingan with the Genjutsu and stuff like that, it was fucking awesome. It was incredible. But then it just went, they could reverse time. They could pause time. They could make a fucking like a cloak of fucking whatever. And then the Sharingan had a fucking different dimension that they could go to. Like the Sharingan got so out of control, right? Like it was ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right, we got time for one more. This is a good one. And I think it can be abused, but I think most of the time it's beautiful and I want to see it go nowhere. Emotional flashbacks before big moment.
No, I like that.
Well, the timing is everything, though, because
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to what I just said about don't fucking do it in the middle of the fight.
Yeah.
Naruto flashback in a flashback, and I'm like 3 episodes later before I get back to what's actually happening.
Yeah. So flashbacks and flashbacks and flashbacks, and Naruto did this it was just too much. But I think a nicely timed flashback can hit you in all the feels. Like, I will even say flashbacks in some fights, and I know Keaton is not going to appreciate this. the Kakashi Obito, the flashback to them being kids fighting, doing the same like fighting style, everything. I thought that was beautiful. I loved the flashback to them as kids while they're fighting. I thought that was like chef's kiss, like so good, because the whole thing was about them as adults and what they've lost and what their life was like as a kid and what it could have been. And like the back and forth struggle, I thought it symbolized so much. It was beautifully done, right? So like, I think there are moments where it is even acceptable to do that. I think what flashbacks and how powerful they can be is really good, but I think some animes do them really poorly.
So, Nate, it's not the flashback during the fight that I don't appreciate. I think that fight is a little overhyped. Though I think that is beautifully done. I didn't really care about Obito as much as it was more of how much I cared about Obito than anything else. Do I think that the fight was beautiful and I appreciated the flashback? Absolutely. Do I think that I hadn't seen that in any other anime? For sure. And I think it was incredibly done. So it's not necessarily that, but to your point, it's like I think a lot of it is timing. It's kind of hard, man, because sometimes flashbacks are just dead giveaways, and you're like, all right, this motherfucker's gonna die. So if you can find a happy medium between Naruto and the opposite of I didn't realize a lot of this stuff until Carly watched Naruto, and she's like, yeah, Jiraiya's just like a complete perk. And I'm like, I can see as a woman why you would definitely absolutely hate him.
I can see why anybody would.
Well, I know, but even more, I'm like, okay, that makes even more sense. But then, there's so many flashbacks in Naruto, like 4 or 5 episodes. And I didn't realize that until she was watching. She's like, there's so many flashbacks. And then I'm like, all right, well, we lived in different cities at the time. I'd come back home. I'd come back to Mississippi or go back to Mississippi, watch it with her. And then like the whole night we're watching flashbacks. I'm like, holy shit, you're right. So I do think there's an aspect of that versus trying to find a happy medium of showing flashbacks that you don't die immediately or someone doesn't die immediately after, and then finding a way to show flashbacks where people do die to where it is somewhat unexpected, whether the flashbacks are, a leading cause of death or whether it's just a flashback to build more story. So I think that you have to be tactical with your flashbacks and they have to mean something. It can't mean every time you have a flashback, someone dies. Yeah. I think it's difficult because some animes have a hard time grasping that and putting that together. Because it's like, okay, flashback, yeah, that person's dead.
Part of the conversation I was having last night was about Jujutsu Kaisen and how the first 3 or 4 episodes of, now this isn't a flashback. I mean, it is, but it's more of just like time rewind. Like season 2 goes back to when Gato and Gojo were in school, right? And they're doing the stuff. And like, you don't, I think the movie might lead into some of that. I haven't watched the movie. I don't know. I just watched season 1 into season 2. And going into season 2, I was very confused. I was like, what is happening? Where is Itadori? Where is Megami? Where is these people? Like, I know Gojo, I know Gato, but like, how did we get here? And it was a flashback, but you didn't know. Like, you just jump into it. They're jumping out of the building and like all this other stuff. And you're like, I got into it. I was like, okay, I don't even give a shit anymore. Like, this is amazing. I love it. Right. But at the time, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. And the time skip on Attack on Titan, you didn't know if it was a flashback or not, but we won't go through that because I know Joe has very strong opinions on the time skip.
I think you mispronounced wrong.
Oh
yeah. I mean, Eli, did we go to you on this one? We did, right? We started with you.
No,
yeah. No. Go ahead. What do you think?
No, I mean, like we've all said, it's timing, and I think you got to keep it short and sweet for me too. Like, don't break up the momentum of an episode with the flashback. Yeah, it can add a lot of emotionality to it, and I like that. I appreciate that, but don't drag it out. Don't make me wait until next episode to come back to whatever was actually happening. Like, don't end the episode on the flashback. So now I'm just out, and make it mean something. I think My Hero had a lot of flashbacks, but I can't really
early on they would go to like All Might and Deku's relationship and like how they first met a decent amount for sure, and then kind of All Might versus All for One or whatever.
And the thing, like with Naruto, I mean, I hate to harp on it because it was like the flashback show of flashback shows, but they did it all the time to like spoon feed you the plot too. And you're like, no, I'm like, older than 12, so I can piece this together myself. I understand what's happening, but they're going to give me 3 flashbacks just to make sure, just to hammer it in, to make sure I know exactly.
It was like a summary almost, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to summarize what they were getting to. Yeah.
Yeah, just hitting me over the head with it. Like, unnecessary.
So what is the best flashback? Because I have one in my mind right now that I'm thinking of. What is like the best flashback from anime that you can remember?
It's too specific.
Yeah, that's super specific.
So for me, like Shikamaru with Asuma, like once Asuma died and he's like killing I can't believe I forgot his name. And like it flashbacks to like their relationship and everything. Like to me, like some flashbacks are well done. And that was one of them that I really enjoyed.
That's what I was thinking through, like as we were talking through flashbacks and like well done. I was like, I mean, Naruto may have had too many of them, but they also had some like powerful ones that like just hit you and ripped your guts out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like with Asuma, like great. That's one of the ones. The Jiraiya with his death of the flashbacks of that, they did that really well as well. Trying to think of other ones, but those are two that immediately come to mind.
Yeah. The entire show of Frieren. I mean, it was all about.
Frieren has some good flashbacks.
Yeah, Frieren is.
It's all about like sparking that nostalgia feeling in you, and always going back to her early days.
But you know what's weird? I never felt like it was too much. It was like every episode she would go back, but like because they were short and they were like story driven, like they were story specific. Like it was never reliving. It was reliving, but it was new, right? It was reliving for her, but it was new for us. Whereas like it was literally like old show into the new episode.
Yes,
this is old for her, new for us. So it's a flashback, but it's new information for us.
But do you also think it might have something to do with the fact that it was not forcibly pulling you out of something fast-paced happening? Like, we're used to flashbacks happening in an action show, a shonen or something. Frieren, it matched the pace. It was similarly pleasant at the same time,
Well,
and then the obvious one of the Dandadan episode recently too.
Yeah, as much as I hate on Dandadan, not hate on it, but that they did do a good job. I do think that it was.
That flashback episode was good. Yep, that flashback episode was good.
Monster. Have any of you guys watched Monster?
I need to. Really,
it is slow. It's slow paced, psychological thriller. They do a good job with some flashbacks.
All right, well, that's going to be about it, guys. First off, Eli, loved all your backgrounds. For all of our listeners, he has timely changed his background to almost fit exactly what we're talking about.
This is my flashback Saitama face.
So it has been on point, amazing all night. And if you have watched and you haven't paid attention, just quickly go back through and check for all of his changes. They've been amazing and beautiful all night. But y'all, I appreciate you coming to hang out. I look forward to this every month. I love talking about this. Y'all are my guys to talk about this with. So I love you. I appreciate y'all taking the time, hanging out, like just chilling with us and talking about all this.
Yeah, likewise.
Googling to find that one I can understand the other ones. How did you find that one?
Lots of searching.
He has his sources.
No, same day, man. Same. I think we all in our real world lives, we all live in different parts of the country at this point, and I think we've all talked about how when we run into people in the public and our local communities that we find a commonality with anime. It's like an instant friendship and instant. I mean, we just absolutely nerd out from like that moment on, and I think it brings this platform to do that. But we don't really get to talk about it as much as we like to and want to. And like we had me and Carly were at dinner with some friends, and I was like, hey, like they wanted to meet at 5. I was like, that's cool, but I'm leaving at 6, just so you know. Like I got somewhere to be. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm doing an anime podcast. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, that like, sure.
I tell everybody in the hopes that like, oh, please send me the link. Nobody does, but I tell everyone.
Yeah. Similar reactions. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Like,
You nerd.
enough
You
to do that.
I will say for me, I can come on a little strong sometimes with my opinion. So I'm like, I love anime. They're like, yeah, I love anime too. I'm like, what's your favorite? They're like, Hunter x Hunter. I'm like, fuck off. I'm out. It's not always instant friendship.
Yeah, so Nate ends up wanting to fight about half the people he talks to.
So
yeah.
I do think it's good for us to have this platform. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Keeps us honest out here watching shows.
100%.
And every episode, I have like 5 animes that I add to a list that I watch before the next episode. So it's just, I'm just like, where do these come from? Like, how have we never even talked about this before? Like, we've been doing this for so long, but there's still new animes, or old animes that I haven't seen that I'm going to add to the list. So
I'm going to start Castlevania. I think I'm going to start it tonight.
Good.
I think that's top of the list too. But just for anybody listening or goes back to listen to this, some of the shows that were listed that I added to the watch list is Welcome to NHK, Summertime Rendering. Is it Magi? Is that how you say it? Magi. Secret Levels, Castlevania, and of course the animated Spider-Man movies. So that was my list.
You haven't seen Enter the Spider-Verses?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, dude! I don't know
what the
anything you haven't watched.
Have your kids not watch that?
This weekend. That's serious. Like the second one, maybe. Like that's my comfort movie.
You have like a 12-year-old son, bro. How have you not seen Into the Spider-Verses? You're a hero person.
I just haven't watched them.
Joe, you probably have a pet spider somewhere.
I don't understand. I'm at a loss. I don't understand, Joe.
Look.
The other ones I don't care about. That one doesn't make sense. I don't know how you haven't seen those. I don't need your bullshit excuse. It makes no sense.
That's serious, Joe. You have to watch both this weekend.
All right, I will watch them. All right, see y'all later. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, thanks to everybody tuning in and listening and hanging out with us. Thanks for all the comments. Y'all take care and have a good night. We appreciate you.